Alex hadn't meant to eavesdrop. The hallway outside the family living room had always been a place of quiet refuge, somewhere to linger, breathe, and momentarily escape the weight of grief. But today, the air felt heavier, pressing against Alex's chest as they stood frozen in the doorway. "Dad made it clear," Olivia's voice rang out, sharp and unwavering. Alex was never meant to inherit anything. He left them out entirely. "That's what the will says." Silence, then murmurs. Their aunt shifted uncomfortably in her seat. Their uncle cleared his throat, while their cousins exchanged hesitant glances. No one seemed to know how to react. Alex's pulse thundered. Left out? That couldn't be right. Their father had always been fair, always spoke about ensuring everyone was taken care of. Had Olivia twisted the truth? Or worse, had their father truly abandoned them in his final wishes? A rush of emotions, anger, disbelief, hurt clashed in Alex's mind, making it impossible to think straight. Stepping forward, they finally spoke. "What did you just say?" Olivia turned, her expression unreadable for a fraction of a second before settling into something cool and collected. "You heard me." Alex searched the faces around the room, hoping, praying someone would speak up, challenge Olivia's claim, but no one did. "What will are you talking about?" Alex demanded, voice sharpening out, laced with frustration. "Dad would never do that. He wouldn't just..." Olivia sighed, as if growing impatient. "I've already spoken to the lawyer. The documents are clear." Alex's stomach twisted. The lawyer. That meant paperwork, something tangible, something real. Olivia wasn't just making up rumors, she had evidence, but something didn't sit right. Alex remembered the conversations with their father, the plans, the assurances. There had to be something Olivia wasn't saying. Pushing past the rising ache in their chest, Alex made a silent vow whatever truth lay buried in this supposed will, they would uncover it. This wasn't over. The law office smelled of leather-bound books and polished mahogany, an air of quiet authority and guarded truths. Alex sat stiffly in the chair across from Mr. Hensley, their father's longtime lawyer. His silver-rimmed glasses perched at the end of his nose as he skimmed a document with practiced precision. "You seem troubled," he observed, folding his hands over the paperwork. Alex exhaled sharply. "Olivia says I was completely left out of my father's will. Is that true?" Hensley hesitated, a flicker of something unreadable passing across his face. "She's correct that the will was changed before his passing." Alex's stomach dropped. But Hensley continued, his tone shifting, not in the way she claims. A silence stretched between them, thick with unspoken possibilities. Alex leaned forward, pulse hammering. "What do you mean?" The lawyer reached for a different file, carefully sliding out a crisp document. "Your father did amend his will, but it wasn't to exclude you. In fact, the changes reflected his intention to ensure fairness, an equal division of assets between his children." Alex's breath caught. Equal division? That wasn't what Olivia had said. Hensley's gaze darkened slightly. "Here's the problem," he said, tapping the document. "This version was contested." Alex frowned. Contested by whom? The lawyer adjusted his glasses, his expression carefully neutral. "Olivia!" A sharp pang of betrayal twisted in Alex's chest. Of course, Olivia had fought the changes. But why? Had she been afraid of losing something, afraid of sharing? "There were discussions," Hensley continued. "Your sister argued that your father was unwell at the time and that his amendment should be dismissed." Alex swallowed hard. "And were they?" The lawyer sighed, choosing his words carefully. "Let's just say she was persuasive." Alex's hands curled into fists. So that was it. Olivia hadn't just twisted the truth, she had manipulated it. She had ensured the old version of the will remained, the one that benefited her most. "This isn't right," Alex said, voice tight with frustration. Hensley studied them, a knowing look in his eyes. "Which is why I assume you won't let it go." Alex's jaw set with determination. No, they wouldn't let it go. The truth was buried under signatures, legal maneuvering, and Olivia's calculated deceit. But Alex would dig until they uncovered every last piece. This fight had only begun. The house felt different now, colder, heavier, as if the walls themselves had absorbed the tension and were pressing it back onto Alex. Every conversation with a family member carried a strained edge. Their cousin Paul barely met their gaze. Aunt Margaret, who had always doted on them, suddenly seemed cautious, her words clipped, her sympathy muted. Olivia's version of the truth had spread, wrapping itself around the family like a vine, tightening with every whisper behind closed doors. "You need to let this go," their uncle urged one evening. "It's painful enough without dragging everyone through legal battles." Alex clenched their jaw. "Let it go." "When I know Olivia is lying." "She says she saw the documents herself," their cousin chimed in. "Why would she make this up?" That was the question everyone asked, but Alex knew the answer. Olivia wasn't making things up. She was twisting them, bending them in her favor with just enough truth to keep people from questioning, which meant Alex needed proof. Alone in their father's old study, Alex began combing through paperwork. Drawers creaked as they pulled them open, old documents spilling onto the desk in a rush of forgotten ink and dust. If their father had truly amended the will for fairness, there had to be something, a note, a draft, correspondence with the lawyer, and then tucked inside a faded leather folder, they found it, a handwritten letter. Alex's breath hitched as they read the words scrawled in their father's familiar handwriting. "Hensley finalizing adjustments tomorrow." Must ensure fairness for Alex. Can't let previous drafts stand. Their hands trembled as realization settled in. Their father had fought to change the will. He had recognized the imbalance, had planned to make it right. But Olivia had stopped it. Heart pounding, Alex clutched the letter, feeling the weight of betrayal grow heavier. This was no longer about inheritance, it was about truth. And truth, no matter how deeply buried, always had a way of resurfacing. The study smelled of old paper and memories Alex couldn't quite hold on to. Sunlight streaked through the window, casting uneven shadows across the desk, the same desk where their father had spent late nights writing, sorting through legal documents and carefully planning for the future. A future Olivia had manipulated. Determined to find answers, Alex pulled open the desk drawers, sifting through folders, notes, and abandoned pens. The neat organization of their father's belongings made it clear he had always been meticulous. If he had concerns, if he had doubts, there would be something here. Minutes stretched into an hour. Frustration gnawed at Alex's patience as they flipped through papers that all seemed ordinary bank statements. Old letters, legal contracts, nothing stood out. Until they spotted a warm leather envelope tucked beneath a stack of invoices. Fingers trembling, Alex lifted it, carefully sliding out its contents. A letter. Their father's handwriting covered the page in hurried strokes, as though he had written it under pressure, trying to get the words down before something stopped him. "Hensley, need to speak soon. I have concerns about the will. Not sure if everything is right. Someone may have influenced decisions. I can't let this stand." Alex's breath hitched. Someone may have influenced decisions? Heart pounding, they scanned the letter for a name, but there was none. Their father had been vague, cautious. But the fact that he had doubts meant Olivia's story wasn't the whole truth. And if she had tampered with the will, she had done it knowing their father was uneasy about it. Alex tightened their grip on the letter. This wasn't speculation anymore. Their father had feared deception, and Alex was going to find out exactly who had played a hand in it. Alex gripped the letter tightly, knuckles whitening around the fragile paper. The words stared back at them, proof that their father had doubts, proof that Olivia had known something wasn't right. And yet she had stood before the family, lying with effortless ease. Tonight, that would change. The evening air was thick with tension as Alex stepped into Olivia's dimly lit living room. She sat perched on the edge of the couch, her fingers lazily circling the rim of a wineglass. As if completely unbothered by the storm brewing between them, Alex didn't waste time with pleasantries. They placed the letter on the coffee table, the sound sharper than expected in the quiet room. "Explain this." Olivia didn't flinch. Her gaze drifted to the paper, lingering for a moment before she leaned back, exhaling slowly. "Where did you find that?" "That's not the point," Alex snapped. "Dad was worried, Olivia. He suspected something was off. And yet, you fought to keep the original will, the one that cut me out." Olivia sighed, picking up her glass and taking a slow sip. "I didn't fight anything. Dad made decisions, and I respected them." "He didn't finalize those decisions," Alex countered. "He was trying to make it fair." Olivia's lips pressed into a thin line, but she didn't deny it. Silence stretched between them. Then, suddenly a flashback. Alex was 16 when they first noticed the unspoken divide. Their father had always been generous, but there were moments, subtle shifts that hinted at favoritism. A new car for Olivia's graduation, while Alex had been told to work for it. Olivia's mistakes overlooked, while Alex's were held up as cautionary tales. Little things, insignificant on their own, but together a pattern. Alex had brushed it off then, convincing themselves they were overthinking. But now, staring at Olivia, it all made sense. She had never wanted equality. She had wanted control. "You knew," Alex murmured, voice quieter now. "You knew you wanted to change it, and you made sure it didn't happen." Olivia set her glass down, her expression unreadable. "What's done is done, Alex." Alex felt something shatter inside them, not just anger, but loss of trust. Loss of whatever lingering hope they had that Olivia would admit the truth. But if Olivia wouldn't give them answers willingly, Alex would find another way. This wasn't just about family anymore. It was about justice. The office felt different this time. The polished mahogany desk, the orderly shelves lined with legal books, none of it provided the same assurance it once had. This wasn't just a visit. It was an interrogation. Mr. Hensley sat across from Alex, his fingers steepled together, an unreadable expression on his face. "I need the truth," Alex said, voice steady, though tension gripped their chest. "You met with Olivia before my father's passing, didn't you?" A flicker of discomfort crossed the lawyer's face. "I did." Alex's stomach clenched. Confirmation. What was discussed? Hensley hesitated, then sighed. "She came to me with concerns about your father's ability to make decisions toward the end. She argued that his judgment was impaired and that the modifications he intended should be dismissed." Alex's jaw tightened. "And did you believe her?" Hensley met Alex's gaze carefully. "I advised caution." "She was persuasive, and there was no way to definitively prove whether your father's mental state had truly affected his judgment. I had to consider all angles." Alex's pulse quickened. Olivia hadn't just manipulated the family, she had strategically dismantled their father's wishes before he even passed. "There's more, isn't there?" Alex pressed. Another pause. Then, reluctantly, Hensley pushed a folder toward them. "I kept copies," he admitted. Alex flipped through the documents, scanning signatures, dates, then froze. Their father's final revisions had been stamped void just days before his passing. Not by him, by Olivia. The weight of the revelation settled heavily. She had made sure the modifications never took effect. "You knew this would hurt me," Alex said, voice barely above a whisper. "Yet you didn't stop her." Hensley sighed, looking almost weary. "I followed procedure, but I regret it." Regret wouldn't undo Olivia's betrayal. But proof could change everything. Alex closed the folder slowly. This wasn't just about Olivia anymore. It was about justice, and they would fight for it. The weight of the folder in Alex's hands felt heavier than paper should. It contained copies of the will documents Olivia had fought to preserve, signatures that sealed their father's supposed wishes, but something about it felt wrong. Too convenient. Too calculated. They needed proof. Sitting across from Dr. Evelyn Carter, a forensic document analyst with decades of expertise, Alex watched as she methodically examined the pages under specialized lighting. Her office smelled of ink and aged parchment, shelves lined with case files of long-buried deceptions. "This will," Dr. Carter murmured, tracing her fingers along a signature, doesn't align perfectly with your father's historical handwriting samples. Alex's pulse quickened. What does that mean? She adjusted the magnifier, comparing strokes, pressure points, inconsistencies. It means, she said carefully, there are signs of forgery. The word hung in the air like a silent explosion. Alex gripped the armrest of their chair. Are you sure? Dr. Carter turned the page, pointing at subtle variations, areas where the ink flow seemed unnatural, shaky, altered. The discrepancy suggests someone attempted to mimic his handwriting. And considering the timing of this will's validation, she gave Alex a pointed look. I'd say Olivia had ample opportunity. A slow, creeping fury built inside Alex. Olivia hadn't just twisted the truth, she had forged it. Armed with the analyst's findings, Alex arrived at the next family gathering, the tension suffocating before a single word was spoken. The dining room was filled with expectant, skeptical faces, cousins, aunts, uncles, all of them already leaning toward Olivia's version of the story. Until Alex dropped the report onto the table. This, Alex said, voice steady, is a professional analysis of Dad's will. A pause. Olivia's eyes narrowed. And? She said, feigning indifference. And, Alex continued, leaning forward, it proves forgery. The will you fought to uphold wasn't Dad's. It was tampered with. Gasps rippled through the room. The family dynamic fractured in an instant. Those who had blindly followed Olivia now shifted uncomfortably. Accusations, stares, murmurs of disbelief. Olivia's grip on the narrative was slipping. I don't know what you think you've found, Olivia said, tone sharp, but Alex caught the flicker of unease behind her words. She knew. You know exactly what I found, Alex shot back. And soon everyone else will too. The battle wasn't over, but the truth had begun its descent. And Olivia was finally losing control. The tension in the air was thick, suffocating. The family, once unified in quiet grief, now stood on opposite sides of the room, some whispering in disbelief, others crossing their arms, unwilling to meet Alex's gaze, divided. And in the center of it all, Olivia... Alex could see it, the way her composure cracked at the edges, the forced steadiness in her breathing, the way she gripped her wine glass just a little too tightly. The forensic report had shattered the illusion she had so carefully built, and now there was nowhere left to hide. Just say it, Alex demanded, voice steady despite the fire raging beneath it. You forged Dad's signature. You manipulated everything because you couldn't stand the thought of losing control. Olivia laughed, but it was hollow, brittle. You always assume the worst of me. I don't assume, Alex shot back. I know. The silence stretched, unbearable, until finally Olivia exhaled, shoulders sinking, her mask slipping. Fine. Her voice was sharp, almost bitter. Yes, I did it. Gasps rippled through the room. I was always second choice, Olivia continued, her voice rising with frustration. Dad favored you, you know he did. I saw it every day. The way he trusted you more. The way he included you in things that actually mattered. Alex's throat tightened. This wasn't just greed, it was resentment. So you stole his last decision, Alex murmured. Made sure it favored you instead. Olivia's jaw clenched. I wasn't going to be overlooked. Not again. The room erupted, some family members rushing to condemn Olivia's actions, others hesitating, torn between betrayal and loyalty. He was your father. Their aunt snapped. She did what she had to, a cousin muttered, earning a glare from others. Alex stood in the chaos, watching the unraveling, realizing the damage wasn't just in the inheritance, it was in trust. No legal battle could mend what Olivia had broken. But Alex wasn't here to fix Olivia's mistakes. They were here to ensure justice. And that fight wasn't over yet. The courtroom was unnervingly silent, the kind of silence that crackled with tension rather than peace. Rows of family members filled the spectator seats, their eyes darting between Alex and Olivia, between truth and deception. Alex sat at the plaintiff's table, the forensic report neatly stacked alongside copies of their father's letters. Beside them, their attorney leaned in, voice low. Stay focused. We have the evidence. She has excuses. Olivia, seated across the aisle, looked composed. But Alex could see it, the tightness in her jaw, the fingers that drummed anxiously against the table. She knew she was cornered. The judge entered. Proceedings began. Alex's lawyer spoke first, laying out the case with the precision of a scalpel. They presented the forensic analysis, the discrepancies in the will, the letter their father had written expressing doubts. Every fact built upon the next, forming a damning structure Olivia couldn't tear down. Then came her turn. Olivia stood, clearing her throat. This is a misunderstanding, she began smoothly. My father was unwell toward the end. I was trying to honor his wishes, his real wishes, a scoff from someone in the crowd. A murmur rippling through the courtroom. Alex didn't flinch. Instead, they leaned forward, looking Olivia dead in the eyes. Then why forge his signature? Silence. The judge glanced at Olivia. Do you have an explanation for the forensic evidence? Olivia's jaw tightened. It's being misinterpreted. Alex's lawyer was ready. Your Honor, we ask that you call the forensic document examiner to testify. Dr. Carter stepped forward, calm and unwavering. The probability of forgery in this document is substantial. The ink flow is inconsistent. The pressure is unnatural. This signature was not made by Mr. Callahan. Olivia's composure cracked just slightly, but enough. The judge flipped through the documents, reading each detail carefully before looking up. The evidence presented strongly indicates manipulation of legal documents. We will proceed with further deliberation. Alex exhaled slowly. This wasn't just a fight for their father's legacy. It was a fight for truth. And the truth was finally winning. The courtroom was silent, the air heavy with anticipation. The judge sat poised, reviewing the final arguments, the damning evidence, the undeniable truth. Olivia avoided Alex's gaze, her composed exterior now nothing more than a fragile veneer threatening to crack. Then, the words came. The court rules in favor of the plaintiff, Alex Callahan. The contested will is deemed fraudulent, and the rightful inheritance is restored according to the original intended amendments. A collective breath released through the room, some in relief, others in shock. Olivia stiffened but said nothing. Alex's lawyer turned to them, a victorious glint in his eyes. It's over, he murmured. But as Alex looked around, watching the fragmented family, the uncertainty in their faces, the lingering loyalty some still held toward Olivia despite everything, they knew it wasn't over, not completely. The wound was deeper than money or legal battles. It was trust that had been broken in ways no courtroom ruling could repair. That evening, Alex sat alone in their father's old study, fingers brushing against the dust-laden edges of the desk. Was justice enough? Was justice enough? A knock at the door startled them. A courier stood outside, holding a small envelope. Delivery for Alex Callahan, he said. Alex's brows furrowed as they took the envelope, their names scrawled in familiar handwriting. Dad's handwriting. Heart pounding, they slid open the envelope, pulling out a letter, a final message from their father, written before his passing. Asterisk. Alex, if you're reading this, it means I didn't get the chance to set things right myself. I wanted fairness. I wanted my children to stand together, not against each other. I know you may feel betrayed, and I can't change what Olivia has done. But forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting, it means choosing peace. Whatever happens next, remember, your worth was never measured by inheritance. It was measured by the strength you carry, the truth you stand for, and the kindness you refuse to lose. I'm proud of you. Asterisk. Tears blurred the ink as Alex gripped the letter, a broken laugh escaping their lips. The fight was over. The scars would remain. But in this moment, in these words left behind, they found something Olivia could never take closure.